Hello everyone and welcome to the YouTube channel of Get Set Law by IMS. I'm your verbal ability mentor Sanjana Chauhan, and today I intend on discussing a solid 10-month strategy to take care of the English language section of the CLAT 2026 examination. Now, why English language is important? Not just because of the RC section, not just because of the logical reasoning section, but also because, truth be told, the entire CLAT paper is in English, and it's only fair for us to build up on our reading habits. So I intend on sharing some quick tips and tricks through which you can take care of this area of your preparation, right? Now, the first and very important thing here is to know where you currently stand. Determine your position right now. If you tell me, ma'am, I feel my reading is very slow, and not just slow, my understanding of the passages is also very bad or poor, then it's telling. In that case, according to me, the best way you can start with your reading journey so that you become more comfortable with the reading is to take a recourse to newspaper reading. Read newspapers daily. What to read, what sort of information to read is something I shall be discussing in due course of this session. Right? So if understanding passages is difficult for you, you can start with easier sections of newspapers, right? Do not just go into full-fledged editorials, because sometimes editorials can be very floridly worded, right? It's very floral, so you might find trouble while reading and understanding it. So start with very basic, articles, perhaps the first page, any recent happening or development in the country, anything through which you are also able to read and understand the content of the passage. Right? If reading speed is slow, again, keep on building up on the speed. One popular question that I receive from students is, ma'am, my reading speed is slow, accuracy is intact, that is not a problem. But how do I take care of my reading speed? Now, if you ask this question 10 months before the exam, then all I'd suggest is keep on reading. Something will follow suit or happen when you practice it consistently. But if you come to me 2 months before the exam, I can only tell you to learn the art of skimming and scanning the passages, or just read the questions first and then look for the answers in the passage. But that's a shortcut. But right now I think we have some time for us to not resort to taking shortcuts here, right? If you're making silly mistakes, a lot of people at this juncture will also tell me, ma'am, everything is fine, but still I'm making a lot of goof ups in this section, right? For one question which I already know the answer, I don't know, I end up marking something else, and when I analyze the paper, I feel it's such a silly mistake, right? See, one advice I give to all my students with respect to silly mistake is just stop making them, right? Well, silly mistake, I believe, is more a matter of distraction. So make sure next time you're actually very focused while reading. Do not fidget, do not play with your pen, don't do anything. Just focus on the task that is in front of you, which is maybe solving a test or a mock, right? So if you're making silly mistakes, work on eliminating them by practicing with focus. So this part is analyzing your current level at this juncture, where you stand. Now, once that is sorted, once you have segregated everything, we'll move on to understanding the concepts. You can't just go about solving the passages just like that. In RCs also, we have some technical concepts. Ma'am, what technical concepts do we have? We have tone-based questions, writing style of the passage, right? What is the author's attitude? Did you know the meaning of the word eulogizing as a tone? Or panegyric as a tone? No, ma'am, we don't know. That is because you haven't really focused on the conceptual bit first. So first thing is focus on understanding the concept. So ma'am, what concepts? Learn the main idea of the passage, right? How do you decode the purpose of the passage? What is the difference between main idea and the main purpose? Sometimes there is a difference. Yes. Right? What is a specific detailed question? What is an inference question? What are direct questions? How do you identify the most suitable title of a passage? So first thing you have to do is go through the concepts, and concept building, all in all, I believe, is not going to take more than 2 months. In fact, it can be done in under 1.5 months. So starting now, if you are a beginner, you can begin with concept understanding, right? So learn concepts through examples. By that I mean you're attending classes, right, online, offline, or just self-studying, right? In that way, first you just focus on the concept, and after the concept, obviously there must be a practice exercise as an example, so you can then apply the context there. So do this first thing, then solve more questions on that same topic. Today I study about tones. I have been provided with the list of tone-based words, positive tones, negative tones, neutral tones. This is just an example, right? Once I get the hang of it, I'm going to check a couple of examples under it. Some questions might be there. And once I feel that I'm sort of mastering this topic, I can go on to solving more questions on this, right? So this is the second step you need to do. And once that is done, you can just take a random test. So it's not like you have to keep on solving tone-based questions only. At max, there will be one, or if at all, two questions from that section, right? So then you can just solve your regular mocks or tests and see if you are able to recall tone words, if you have understood how to decode tone words. And the same holds good for other topics under reading comprehension as well. So this is what you need to do first thing as a beginner. And even if you're not a beginner, you still feel very confident, I'd suggest still go through the concepts. This will help you prepare in a more scheduled manner as well, right? Next up is make reading a daily habit. I mean, this goes without saying, and I have reiterated this point multiple times now, and I wish to do the same, right? Which is keep reading daily. Now, what to read? See, again, you are at liberty to choose whatever source you're more convenient with. I feel a couple of students really like to read books. They want books to be their, guiding light in helping them build up their reading skills. But personally speaking, I think if you start with newspapers, because CLAT is known to have a history of, asking passages from editorials, right? Especially the Indian Express or the Hindu. So make sure that you're reading from the newspapers. What to read? Do read the first page. Do read national news, some international news of importance. Legal developments is important, right? So I think when you're full-fledgedly preparing for an examination, when you're attending your classes also regularly, you get a pretty decent idea of what is important and what it is that you can discard while reading from newspapers, right? So focus on diverse topics as well. Do not just keep on reading the same things over and over again. If somebody has met with an accident, God forbid, you don't have to read it. It's not something that will get asked in the GK section as well, right? And not that it is of relevance for RC or critical reasoning, right? And start with easy articles. Again, very beginner level advice. Do not directly jump to reading an editorial, which once you read, you do not understand what it is, right? Start small, start basic, okay? Then move on to more complex editorials. This again can be mastered in about 2 months. So this reading of, on a daily basis is not something that you start after those 1.5 months of, focusing on the concepts. This is over and above this. So daily you have to start reading and invest about an hour daily. Now, why am I saying an hour? Is not that you have to learn everything by rote while reading a newspaper. It's also, and this will help you with CA as well. You have to make notes. When I was preparing for the exam, one thing that I did very religiously was preparing my own notes. Use colorful pens, create separate notebooks for January, for Feb, for the month of March, so on and so on. So this makes your reading overall very impactful because it's helping you not just take care of reading comprehension, English language or critical reasoning, but also some bit of CA and some bit of legal reasoning, right? So in toto, it will take you about an hour to read effectively, right? What else can you do over and above reading newspapers is, now understand, if you take a look at CLAT 24 and 25, there were a couple of fictional passages or literature passages, right? The Gift of the Magi, the Astrologer's Day, these are some of the very important short stories. So take it from me, students, this is one advice nobody at this stage is going to tell you. If you can get your hands on some short stories which are specially, taught in 10th and 12th standards for both ICSE and CBSE boards, it will really help you understand and decode how to read fictional passages. Astrologer's Day is there. It was asked in CLAT 2025, right? The Gift of the Magi is there. Rikki Tikki Tavi is also another beautiful short story. Old Love is another short story. So whatever I'm mentioning here, you can obviously Google it. Google will provide you with these short stories. Otherwise, you just look for them wherever you can. So this will come very handy. Believe me, I'm just drawing a star over here to emphasize its importance. Alright, so reading and conceptual building go hand in hand, so you have to do it together. Now what else? Now once you're done with the conceptual bit, now you're reading, you're literally good to go. This all has taken about 2-3 months. What to be done after it is, now you just start solving questions, right? Solve it from your sectional test, We also provide you with benchmarking tests. This is one of the best ways to know where you currently stand with respect to your performance relative to those of your peers as well, right? So solve sectional tests, benchmarking tests, take mocks. Now it's not advisable that students should be taking mocks daily, but even let's just say you're taking a mock once a week or twice a week, that's okay. So that can also help you practice reading comprehension. Now a couple of students come to me, ma'am, can you help me prepare a timetable for it? Understand that English is very expansive. Jitni karo utni kam hai, right? So all you can do on a daily basis is solve 3 to 4 reading comprehension passages. Use the passages from your books that we provide you with, or whatever books you're preparing for English language from. So on a daily basis, 3 to 4, that should be your target. It sounds like it's going to take a lot of time, but I believe you're not giving more than 7-8 minutes to solving one passage. And as it is, if you've gone through CLAT 24 and 25 standards, the passages are quite easy to moderate, not beyond it. So that in total will take you another 40 minutes at max, right? So 3 and 4 RC passages daily, and your practice is literally done there. And all you can do till the very end is to keep on practicing. Once a concept and everything has been taken care of, and obviously you have to factor in not making silly mistakes, no matter how perfected you feel your skills are. But silly mistakes is something which nobody is immune from, right? It just depends on your mindset at the time of taking a test, at the time of taking the actual exam, right? And overthinking also really does destruct a lot of things there, right? So to conclude, these are some of the important pointers. I'm just sort of summarizing everything here. Read with full focus and attention. Do not read half-heartedly. And another beautiful piece of advice I can share is, when you read, please steer clear of using your background knowledge or assumptions. Quite often, you might be already clued up about a particular topic. If the passage is on stoicism, right? So I'm assuming you know what stoicism is. It's this philosophy where you're just, very unbothered by everything. You're very neutral, right? Emotionless at that. So you might already know what it means. And just because we have a passage on it, it doesn't mean that you start including your background knowledge on it. You have to take the passages at face value. Whatever is there in the passage, accept it. That is your data. Stick to the data while solving questions. A lot of silly mistakes can be reduced by virtue of this particular thing, right? Then identify the strong and weak areas. If vocab is a hurdle, you can practice vocab based questions every day. Now for vocabulary also, there are 2 ways to go about it. You'd see that most of the people who are quite good at decoding the meanings are generous readers. They read and they like to read. And because you're reading, you're encountering new words daily, and you just do care to look up the meaning of the word. So that is the, a long-term way of building up on vocab. Short-term way, which is, specifically for, targeting exams, is by solving a lot of vocab questions. Ma'am, what sorts of questions? 2 ways you can target vocab. One is solving MCQ questions, right? MCQ questions, direct MCQs, which is, so there is a word trepidation. That's it. Only the word is given in the question. Choose one word which is the closest to trepidation in meaning. 4 options are given. You have to choose one. The correct option will be, for example, anxiety. That's it. So if you do not know, it's okay. Now you know, you're learning, right? But for MCQ, direct MCQ questions, you have to keep on revising it, right? Second way is by rote learning word clusters. Word clusters. Ma'am, what are word clusters? Multiple words. It's a cohort of words which have the same meaning. For example, the word acidic, right? Acidic criticism is intense criticism. I can give you so many words for it. You might be surprised to know, ma'am knows so much, but that is because I have actually sort of, made efforts to learn word clusters. So you have caustic, you have vitriolic, you have vituperative, right? So these are the words you can learn through word clusters. So this is another way, and I think there is another way to, sort of build up on vocab, which is by solving cloze tests. closed test, it's there in your workbooks as well, Get Set Law workbooks. So closed tests are essentially fill in the blanks where the context is already given. So once you know the context, that the meaning of the sentence has to be positive or the meaning of the sentence has to be, negative, you can sort of eliminate the wrong options and choose the correct option. So this is all for vocab. And yes, if you want, you can start with word power made easy, but that's not something that is always very effective, believe me. I think a better way is for you to directly engage with vocab, right? Third is do not rush through passages, read slowly, right? There is time, but do learn to time yourself. It's a £10 exam at the end of the day. So that is also something of great significance. And another advice is it's okay to revisit a passage multiple times, right? So some students have this stigma, ma'am, I don't know why, but I always feel I have to keep on going to the passage because I'm not able to retain information. Look, if you're able to solve the paper or the test within time, it is of no concern whether you do not revisit the passage or you keep on going back to the passage. So that's okay. You can revisit as long as you're solving something within time and solving it correctly, right? So practice is something that will help you actualize this. And the last is dedicate 1 hour to newspaper reading daily. I wanted to include this because this is so important. I think anybody who is preparing for CLAT, ALAT and other law entrance exams, and even for any other exam that does ask reading comprehensions, has to read newspapers. That's the best way you can start with. Nobody likes fictional stories in the first place. Reading is something which is very personal also, but newspaper reading is something which is more of a life skill, is what I believe as well. And obviously keep on attending your lectures and your classes, because that in itself is a very good source of practice, right? So that's about it. Hope you understood everything. If you have any comments, if you want to know anything, you can just connect with us. We are present everywhere on every social media platform, right? So that's it. Hope you have a great day.